Home Depot, home of hammers, paint, and now anti-ICE protesters, dozens of them lining up over the weekend to demonstrate a buy-in. And that means clogging the lines and buying and returning 17-cent ice scrapers over and over and over again. Watch.
ICE at Home Depot! ICE at Home Depot! At Home Depot! At Home Depot!
Well, it feels like classic liberal logic. Protest first, fact check later. And in this case, the ICE haters choosing to make a scene at Home Depot failed to realize the company's complete lack of control over federal immigration enforcement. Joining us live in studio to react, Fox News contributor Liz Peek. You going to Home Depot tonight?
I don't even know where one is in New York City, but, you know, a number of things come out of this. One, this is really well organized, and I almost admire the performative art capabilities of Democrat protests. I mean, it's really pretty clever. Scrape the ice out of Home Depot, except, as you point out, Home Depot has nothing to do with the ICE activities. What's happening daily is that laborers gather in Home Depot's parking lot because that's where the construction guys come to pick up tools and stuff. They hire people, and so ICE has been showing up at these places, but it has nothing to do with Home Depot. Home Depot actually hires a lot of people, a lot of immigrants, and so what they're doing is actually harming the company that's hiring a lot of the people that they pretend to care about. But it also kind of brings back the idea that Democrats and the organizations that are funding this day laborers organization continue to completely conflate immigrants with illegal immigrants. And you know, it just isn't right. I mean, there really is a difference. This organization, the National Day Laborers Organization, mostly is involved and peopled by people who are here illegally. So that doesn't seem right to me, that the rights and interests of people who are here legally should be completely thrown aside for people who are here illegally. That's not a new thought, I know, but Americans need to constantly be reminded that there is a difference. Republicans are in favor of immigration, not illegal immigration. That's illegal. So I don't know, I find this very depressing, actually, because it's, you know, as I say, I just think it's kind of wrong.
Well,
and it's hurting the people.
I'm an immigrant, and it's frustrating to see.
Yeah, it should be, you know.
Well, I just, you know, I agree with you on the performative aspect of this. I think it's so interesting how they put these things together. And I'm not sure, though, if they're convincing anybody with these acts. That's what would be interesting to know. Let's move on to our second topic here. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick broke down President Trump's $2,000 dividend push this morning to our own Maria Bartiromo, laying out the success of 47's tariff plans to the American people. Listen.
The tariffs are an American policy. The president wants the American people to understand how great tariffs are for them. And so one of the ways to prove to the American people how great tariffs are is to have them share in a part of 1 year's income from these tariffs.
Liz, I'm so interested to hear what you have to say about this, because I understand the appeal of giving Americans free money.
Terrible idea.
On the other hand, you know, having been educated by a lot of economists, I know it's not a winning hand long term.
It is a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea. Because really, one of the major concerns amongst Americans right now is obviously our deficit, our debt, which is at $38 trillion. I mean, can you even imagine such a number? And actually, when all three rating agencies have downgraded our debt, it means it's important, right? We should be paying attention to this. Everybody talks about how important it is, but then nobody really does anything. They don't really cut spending. This is something the president has actually created a vehicle for bringing revenues into the country and actually improving the deficit. Hooray for him. I think that's the message to the American people. Secondarily, he has leveled the playing field, overworked expression, certainly, so that our companies have a better chance of exporting to countries which have in the past disadvantaged them. So I think that is the win for the American people. More jobs, more investment in the United States. People are onshoring. I know you disagree with me on this, Marcus, but I think companies and countries are bringing money into the United States. I think there are like 20 new factories that have opened in the last few months. Good for President Trump. I think that's great. That is the message to the American people, not a $2,000 handout. I think that's wrong.
Well, and it, you know, I know the administration doesn't believe this, but it could spur some inflation, I believe.
Well, you want to get your interest rates to drop. Don't tease that you're going to drop $2,000 into the marketplace, which is going to spur inflation even
Look,
more.
President Trump's approval ratings are coming down, and particularly on the economy, and that's really disappointing, I'm sure, to him. He has to make sure that that turns around and goes back up before the midterms. He is definitely going to be focused on the midterms. This is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to have employment go back up, have inflation come down. To your point, Jerry, we don't really know what that $2,000 paycheck would do to inflation. So I think there's a lot of good news coming on the economy.
Absolutely.
I believe Kevin has it. I also think that Scott Bessent has said it's going to be a great year next year. Let's work on that. Let's make sure that happens.
There's a lot of incentive baked into this economy for next year. It should be
Scolded me
phenomenal.
earlier that I was too pessimistic.
Yeah,
about
you
the
are.
economy.
Look, lower taxes, less regulation. That stuff works. It
Higher
does
prices,
matter.
hard to buy food, hard to live.
Okay, I'm more optimistic. Liz and I outweigh you.
Yeah,
That's right. I lose.
I
I'm
would
okay
probably
with
do
it.
outweigh him, actually.
I'm okay.
Liz, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up.